El Swell, which means good day, and Halkamelum. Today for your career education course, we will be exploring personality. In this lesson, you will learn about personality types, use self-assessment and reflection to develop awareness and understanding of your strengths and weaknesses, and complete a survey and reflect on your results. Why? Because reflecting on ourselves helps us identify our strengths, areas to build up, and learn more about study and career goals that suit our unique traits. So let's first explore some positive personality traits. When leaders are asked what makes a person successful, what attitudes and personality characteristics do you think are often heard? Pause the video and brainstorm together some positive personality traits. In a study of successful people, these are the traits that often come up. How many of these did you think of? So a personality type survey has been developed that is used widely across universities and industries, careers, workplaces, and it involves 4 personality traits that are combined together to create 16 different personality types. Watch the video to learn about these and think about which qualities are most like you, least like you. You may want a scrap piece of paper to guess your personality type as you go through the video.
In this video, you will discover your own unique personality type based on the Myers-Briggs theory. If you know your personality type, you can learn why you naturally communicate better with some people than with others, which jobs to pursue and which jobs to avoid, and which partners are a good fit for your unique personality type, and much more. There are 4 key facets of personality. For each of the 4 key facets of personality, you will have 2 choices to select from. And this will lead up to 16 different and unique personality types. Before we start, here is some information and some common mistakes to avoid. Pen and paper or document on your PC is useful, but not mandatory. Answer honestly, even if you don't like the answer. Answer how you naturally are, not how you want to be. There is no right or wrong when it comes to personality. The more honest you are, the better the results will be. And you don't have to agree with every sentence in a column, just try to find a tendency. So let's start. The first facet is extroversion or introversion. This is if you prefer your internal world or the external world around you. If you are an extrovert, you will seek social interactions if you want to recover from stress. You will find it easy to introduce yourself to new people. You like big groups with many unfamiliar people. You like to be the center of attention. And you prefer social events over a good book or video game. If you are an introvert, you need some time on your own to recover from stressful situations. You usually wait for others to make the first step. You prefer to hang out with small groups of people you know and trust. You don't like to be the center of attention. And you usually prefer a good book or video game over a social event. If you tend more towards the left side, you should write down an E because you're an extrovert. If you tend more towards the right side, please write down an I because you're an introvert. And remember, the more honest you are, the better the results will be. The second facet is sensor or intuitive. This is how you take in the information about the world around you. You are a sensor if you like to focus on facts, if you notice a lot of details, if you love to do things the old-fashioned way, if you are always aware of your surroundings and rarely get lost in your thoughts, if you consider yourself a down-to-earth person. And you are an intuitor if you love to think about meaning, if you're great at noticing patterns, if you love to try new things, if you get lost in interesting thoughts and ignore or forget your surroundings, if you consider yourself a curious person who likes to think big. At this point you can also do a little experiment. This is a simple cup. Think for a few moments about how you might describe it. Write down a few keywords. You can also stop the video for a few seconds to do this. Sensors tend to write down facts like the cup is 4 inches high, it is grey, it is made out of plastic, shaped like a cone, and it has 4 lines on its side. Intuitors, on the other side, tend to write down things like, they come in handy on parties, but they are bad for the environment. Or things like, you can play some games with them, and they make good party hats if you combine them with a rubber band. If you tend more towards the left side, this means you are a sensor. Please write down an S. If you tend more towards the right side, write down an N for intuitor. The third facet is thinker or feeler. This is how you like to make decisions. Thinkers usually use objective data and logical analysis. They think of the pros and cons and the consequences. They prefer to win a debate rather than consider the feelings of others. They find it difficult to relate to other people's feelings. And they think that in any discussion, truth is more important than emotion. Feelers usually use their values and their sense of what is right and wrong when making a decision. They think of how it might affect other people and how other people will feel about their decision. They prefer to make sure no one gets upset. They find it easy to relate to other people's feelings. They prefer to find a solution everyone feels comfortable with. We all use some thinking and some feeling when we make decisions. This is just which one do you prefer. Think of which information you trust most when making a decision. Objective and logical, or value-based and personal. If you tend more toward the left side, this means you are a thinker. Please write down a T. If you tend more towards the right side, please write down an F for feeler. The fourth and final facet of personality is judger or perceiver. This is how you prefer to organize your life. You are a judger if you love to make decisions, if you get satisfaction out of finishing tasks, and usually get everything done on time. If you seek structure and organization, if you usually have a full schedule and organized to-do lists, if you don't like surprises or last-minute changes and want to know what to expect. And you are a perceiver if you love to keep your options open, if you get satisfaction in leaving things open-ended and see a deadline more as a suggestion. Perceivers also want to be spontaneous and go with the flow. They usually like situations with not too many rules. And they are usually excited by surprises. If you tend more towards the left side, this means you are a judger. Please write down a J. And if you tend more towards the right side, write down a P for perceiver. Okay, now let's put it all together and create the code for your unique personality type. It might be ISTJ or ENFP or any one of 16 combinations. Usually the fun starts if you also know the personality type of your friends, so share if you want to.
So you will go into myBlueprint, and once you're there, click on Who Am I on the left navigation menu. From there, you will complete your personality survey. And remember that you can restart the survey if you've done it in the past, because you're changing and developing all of the time. Then you will view the report and read over the results carefully. This is where you build all of the meaning to what you've done. Which personality type are you? Why is that significant? What does it mean? It's interesting to look at the scale to see how far you are, because sometimes you're really close to the center of something, say, for example, extroversion or introversion, and then that might change as you evolve. If you're further to the left or the right on one of those scales, you're more likely to stay toward that side. When you're done, you can click on Add to Portfolio and add it to your portfolio for this year. Then you are going to add a reflection. So you'll open your portfolio, then you'll add a reflection to your personality survey by clicking on the bottom right corner. And it's easier to complete your reflection sometimes if you have your report open in another tab. So you might want to consider that if you're on a computer. So in your reflection, you are going to explain your personality type. What are some characteristics listed in your report? Think, does your report match with some of the adjectives you would use to describe yourself to a friend or a teacher? What do you think your most valuable trait is and why? Was there anything in your results that you disagree with? How can understanding your personality traits help you to decide on a potential career? Your teacher may ask you following this to do a word cloud, which is just a collection of words that are displayed in an artistic format to represent something. In this particular case, you and your personality. So if you are to do a word cloud, then you'll include at least your personality type, that's the 4 letters, your top 3 personality traits, and you could even add 1 or more of your transferable skills, your hobbies, your accomplishments from the previous lessons. You could also include even a favorite career idea. Step-by-step directions for creating a word cloud like the ones on the screen here are in your lesson materials for you. So this week's checklist is to complete your personality survey, add a thoughtful and detailed reflection. And this is a marked course, so your reflection piece is where you have a chance to be proficient and meet expectations, which would be, C+ or a B, or you can exceed the expectations by really doing a thoughtful, insightful, detailed response in your reflection. And then your teacher may or may not ask you to complete a word cloud activity. That's it for me. Have a great week.